Well, hello. How's everybody? Masses. Hope everybody's doing well.
Hi, I'm back here to use your restroom.
Hello. What's happening?
I'm just here to use your restroom.
Oh, okay. The light switch is right behind that ladder hang sitting on up the wall there.
Okay.
All right. I hope everything comes out okay.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Okay. Cleaning up my bench a little bit today because I've got a lot of this stuff on it from my hard work last night cleaning off the binding on a good old Gibson J-40. Discovered that guitar is a B grade guitar, meaning it had a flaw in it. Not 100% certain what that flaw was, but the guitar's been beat to death. So as you can see, I've got all this stuff down here that will scratch up the surface of the guitar, and these are chips of the binding. These are not pieces of wood. This is all chips. That binding just crumbles the moment you try and bend it at all, unlike a lot of plastic binding that you can just take off all in one piece. And I can prove that I can get it off in one piece. And I may show you that here in a bit. But how you doing, Hugh? Good to see you. Thanks for dropping in. Appreciate seeing you, buddy. What are you working on today? Anything exciting? Or tonight? I don't know what time of day it is over there. My time clock is not real competent, you know. And I got this nice piece of ebony to use for some repair at some point. This will fix somebody's guitar. This came off a Stratocaster that a guy had used this to block his tremolo bar up so that it wasn't usable, which is fine. Yeah, you do. Cool. Yeah, the shop here acquired a lot of B stock guitars, and the owner played them, and they have a little flaw in the neck, like a little white spot on a rosewood fingerboard, or you know, they have some white wood grain in them, and Gibson went, nah, we can't sell that as an A grade guitar. 8 p.m. over there. Well, good evening. It's time for a beer, right? If you enjoy that sort of stuff, that would be the common American thing to do, is to drink beer. I don't do that anymore, or at least not very often at all. I'm enjoying that way of life. So hopefully you're having a good evening. I am gonna. I kind of got going here a little bit early. Earlier, we had a busy morning so far. Lots of clients and getting stuff organized here with respect to getting things scheduled. And so I'm going to do something on this Gibson today that if you encounter having to replace binding on a had guitar with the first forward, but oh boy, so it was a banana or forward bow and backward bow, you know, I don't know what direction, but boy, nothing worse than well, I think an out of tune guitar is probably worse than having back bow, but that's my take on that. I can't stand guitar out of tune. Hello, Tremor. Thank you for stopping in. This may not be a like a super exciting episode of Welcome to the Bench, but I'll continue to do them because this might teach somebody something. And that is my total goal. And I will say that with almost every single repair that I do, and I'm sorry my camera guy's not following me around. He's kind of slow. Every guitar repair that I do, whether it be a setup or you know, you guys have seen me do all kinds of crazy stuff on instruments here, from taking backs off guitars to pulling bindings to just doing a basic setup on a Stratocaster or a Les Paul or any of those styles of guitars. I learned something, and so my goal is to share that with you all, and to be able to watch me do it live, so that you can experience the mistakes and the accomplishments that happen. So let's see, Josh, hello, brother. JD and the Queens. Okay. Well, that is a great compliment to hear. If you're talking about oh, dude. Oh, that just made my day. I can't believe I was right on that, but I will say that I don't have a ton of experience with them, but I have worked on them. We have quite a few. We're a PV dealer here at our shop, so back in the day when they were still making good tube amps, aside from the 5150, I did play a lot of Delta Blues amps, and there are a lot of them in our community, so I've had to play through a lot of those using several different kinds of guitars. So I'm shocked that I was correct on that, but at the same time I do have a little experience, so that just made my day. I have a pretty I think, just, and you know, I don't say this boastingly, but I do say it just due to the fact that the way I was trained to play was a lot of ear training when it comes to pitch and tones and things like that. My guitar instructor when I was a young man was very good with that. So there's my response to your compliment, and I sure do appreciate that. That's great to hear, man. Wow. Nice. Yeah. Oh, dude. And your Gretsch. Okay. That is awesome. Wow, I called that one. I'm a little surprised that I was right, because you don't hear a lot of Delta Blues amps being used, at least not in today's world, simply due to the fact of there's so many great amp sims out there, which I'm sold hook, line, and dollar on amp sims, don't get me wrong. But yeah, that's super cool. And those amps, those things are wicked. And a testament to those amplifiers, I went to a little town that my mom graduated from high school with here in Oregon, a little town called Sweet Home, Oregon. And there was a guy that came down out of the hills. He lived up in the mountains, and people didn't see him, and he wouldn't see this guy. The story was you wouldn't see him for 4 or 5 years, and he would show up to just play. And I was one of the lucky people that happened to be there on that. I go there once every 10, 12, 15 years. I'm not kidding. And this dude had an old Telly and a Delta Blues 410 amp. And that, with respect to listening to somebody play guitar live, that was one of the most spiritual, mind-boggling moments of my life. And I could not believe, and it was probably I got to say, this was 20 plus years ago. It was some of the best sound I had heard out of a guitar amp in my life. This guy was fantastic. A bluegrass, chicken picking, I don't know, to say he's bluegrass playing a Telly, I know that's kind of sacrilegious, but nonetheless. Gretsch. And made in the 80s, yeah. Oh, I'll bet you do. And I've repaired a few of them. I don't have video of that stuff. I was doing that before I started doing YouTube in earnest. But we do see them once in a while, so they're still around, and they are fantastic amplifiers. They're very I put them a lot akin, or the brothers, the family members of one of the most famous amps in the world, the Fender Deluxe. They definitely have that sound. And they even look like them, I mean, aside from being a little bit bigger. So, dude, that's super cool. Now, what Gretsch model were you playing? And I'm cleaning up my bench right now before I get going on this. I don't want to scratch this guitar all up. I've got all these chunks of binding that have fallen apart. And you can see all this stuff. That's just waiting to scratch up the back of that guitar. So I've got to get that stuff all cleaned up. And I've got other instruments that I'll be working on today. So I don't want to... Oops, sorry, Cheryl. Don't want to get you in there. Cheryl Crow. Okay, I just did it. We'll see if my camera still works. I don't know. I might have broke it. No, I didn't. Oh, boy. I have got a mess going on. I got going a little bit too early. Hi, Brad. Welcome, brother. Just straight into the amp. Dude, that's the way to do it with one of those things. I'll fix it. I'll fix it. Let me fix it. Let's see. So let's go to camera 1 and line Tony camera. Let me and activate it again. There we go. Sorry about that, you guys. I knocked my camera off here and the USB cable came unplugged. I'm not sorry. I'll just try not to let it happen again. It's some of the best advice I ever got. Never apologize. Don't let it happen again. I'm getting all this guck off of my bench, and I'm sorry, you guys gotta... I'm not sorry. I'll try and get ready earlier next time. Let's get this out of the way. Okay, there we go. Yeah, dude. Martin, okay. Yeah. Let's see. Wow, yeah. So we're going to dig into this J-40 a bit more today. There's going to be a little bit of hammer noise. I'm going to have to hit this thing with a hammer. It's my favorite thing to do, as always. Got to get my camera going better here. Something's up. Okay, there we go. I'm sorry if you guys are getting... gosh, I keep saying I'm sorry. I got to quit saying that. If you're getting seasick, it's not my intention. Just got to get my bench all set up here. There we go. Got too much stuff on here. Boy, my camera is just being a pain in the butt today. There we go. Yeah, Brad. So here she is. You can take a good look at the old J-40. There's a tagger. Hopefully you can see the tag in there. It's definitely a J-40. And the serial number starts with a B, which means it's a B stock guitar. So I don't know why. Couldn't tell you. This thing's so beat up that it definitely is a B stock guitar. I'm going to lower my support here for the neck. All right. So hopefully you were able to see the tagger in there. It's definitely a J-40. So today I'm going to continue removing the binding from this thing, and this will take me a little bit of time to get this done. I don't know if I'll stay live for the entire broadcast doing this, because this could get a little boring, but the goal today is to get all of the binding off of this guitar and get it cleaned up to the point that I'm ready to glue it. And hey Leela, hello. Let's see. No power tools, man. This is a hammer and a chisel. Believe it or not, I'm gonna do this. So I'm gonna get my my tools that I've chosen to use for this. A rounded scalpel, a triangular scalpel. This is one of my most highly used tools for working on guitars. And I do have a lid for the blade. And a little 1/4 inch, highly, very sharp, very sharp chisel. And I'm just going to dive in right now and get going with this. It's great to see you here, everybody, man. Wow, cool. So I'm going to stay busy here. Again, this is owned by the son of the owner of my shop, and he's also part owner. I'm going to take my glasses off, get them out of the way, and show you my process here for doing this. And it is a long, if you're wearing headphones, get ready. This might make a little bit of noise. Hi, Jade. Welcome. So what I have done, let me precurse this by saying I've gone around the entire instrument and scored the edge where the binding meets the back and where the binding meets the side, so as to not chip the finish, the lacquer out in big cases or big chunks. Obviously this guitar is checkered and it's been shot with lacquer after it checkered, but the checkering is still, you can feel it. I don't like to use my fingernail, but just so you can hear, you know, it's definitely checkered. Here we go with this process. Let me try and get my camera. Maybe let's put it over here so you can kind of see what I'm up to. That might be a better view, I think. And we're just gonna keep at it here. You see this just chunking, coming off in chunks. There we go. These little edges like this, and that's where I grab my razor blade and try and cut those off to do as little cosmetic damage as I can get away with on this thing. It's not really that big of a deal because the guitar is so worn and played that if it has imperfections, I'm okay with that. And if this is blowing your head off with the chisel, and look at that, it just chips away like that. But the edge here that I've made a score in the finish on that, it's chipping away pretty clean. And this will be bound with, in fact, I just talked to John today, my brother-in-law John. He's the gentleman who sang Ordinary World, and he also wrote the lyrics and performed the vocals on I Can See It All From Here, that are both on my channel. He's also a magnificent woodworker. So beyond all of that, the woodwork and all that stuff, I'm going to score this again. This finish is really thick, so you can see all of the delicate work we got to do to try and bring an old guitar back to life. And look at this finish just chipping off of here. So I don't know who shot the finish on it last time, but it dried kind of cloudy, so I'm guessing that it might have been shot during the winter months. It's possible. And probably back in, I gotta say, I thought that I had gone around the back of this, so I'm gonna have to take a moment here to a pause in my chisel work. So we want to do this to keep that edge around here intact. There's going to be some chip out. There's nothing I can do about it. This is an old guitar, and it has had the tar beat out of it. It's been played, the number of hours of playing time on this guitar, I wouldn't even venture a guess. The young man who owns it, I call him a young man. He and I are close to the same age, but he plays every single day and writes songs every single day. Be very, very gentle with this process. I don't want to damage the back of the instrument at all. And this is probably going to break off of here, but this piece is coming off. You can see it's really coming off in a pretty good chunk here, which is good. There it goes. Bling! It almost hit me in the eye. Ooh. Here we go. Getting a nice edge here. We want to, got like little chunks of it stuck to the guitar. Isn't this fun? You know, and I don't know what the value of this guitar would be. You could look it up on Google or whatever and see what one of these might be selling for. This is a early 70s. I don't know the exact date. I did try and find the exact date of manufacture, but because it's a B stock guitar, Gibson's not real forthcoming with their information about the age or the date of manufacture. But I'm guessing you could probably buy one of these for in the $1,000 to maybe, they could be up to $2,000. I don't know. And again, it's a 70s era. This isn't a, you know, 60s. I don't think these were built for a super long stretch of time by Gibson. I don't know. I try and do all my research, but and the other thing I'd like to add is that if you have an idea of a better way to do what I'm doing here, sorry my camera guy is a little drunk. If you have a better idea, I would love to hear it. You know, I tried using a razor blade, and the way that this stuff is just chipping away, the chisel seemed to be the right tool for the job, and it's working pretty good. And this process is actually going by pretty quickly in comparison to other guitars that I've had to peel the binding off of. So if you have a better idea outside of power tools, okay, just kind of giving it a good look over here. Now I'll take my my straight razor or my triangular one and scrape this excess stuff off of. So this area right in here appears to have some wood filler in it, or they just filled it up with lacquer to fill a gap probably in the binding. And I will have to go around this entire instrument with this scraper once I'm done getting all the binding off of it, and get all of the glue off of both surfaces here, so that I can get a good solid glue joint. And I'll be using this product right here. This is what I use for gluing binding to either wood or it glues wood to wood very, very well, and it's somewhat it has some bendability. It doesn't harden hard like a oh, what is that stuff called? Tight Bond, another glue. So it's got some elasticity to it, I suppose. And it does a great job of gluing plastic to wood or wood to wood. In either case, this stuff has been great. And I was introduced to this stuff by a gentleman named Jerry Rosa, who I'm sure everybody knows who Jerry is. If you're interested in working on instruments at all, he has one of the best channels on YouTube. And it's amazing that his channel doesn't have like isn't far more popular. Now I'm reaching that point now where I've got to go around this again and slice this. I thought I had done this last night, you guys. I did it around the whole top of this guitar, and I failed to go around the back. You can see the finish just chipping right away. And again, I'm going to shoot this with lacquer, So I'm not too worried about having this super clean clean joint. The idea is to make it look like nothing happened, but on this guitar
It's the Kenwood route, don't worry about it.
okay, all right. We're letting that phone call go. Whew. So obviously you can see that this kind of work is very time consuming, and I end up doing this stuff all day long, almost every day. It's not often that I have to pull binding off of a guitar, but when I do, this is part of the process. Oh boy. You can see this binding is just chipping off. You probably can't see what I'm doing over here. I'm sorry, my camera guy is sleeping on the job again. But these little steps in the process of doing this are really necessary, regardless of how time consuming they are. You just don't want to chip up the finish like real bad. You want to keep all of the original stuff looking as original as you can. So I've got to go around this with a surgical procedure, and surgical precision, I should say, and really take the time. And you got to be when you're doing stuff like this. I'll move the camera over here. I should put two cameras up in here, but oh well. All right, so there we go. I have a cousin who is an ER surgeon. He fixes bullet holes and stab wounds and things like that, and he's given me some ideas on ways to do this to be very accurate with a scalpel. I'm not an artist at all. I can barely draw a straight line at all. So I'll get you down here. I'm going to continue going around this thing, and in some cases it's nice to be able to spin the guitar so that the headstock is facing the other direction, but on this one, this seems to be working just fine. I'm sorry my hand's right in the middle of the film here. I'm going to take a moment here and see if anybody offered up any ideas. Gary Hubbs, welcome. Justin, hello. Okay. Josh Harris, I'm curious about the model of Gretsch you played. It was a Gretsch, right? Or Guild, sorry. Gretsch or Guild, one of those. Let's see, did anybody throw me an idea? Working and lurking, good. Did Gary do a cover of Tainted Love? That's awesome. It's funny that one of the big boys in the YouTube world, he's getting a big channel. It was really cool to see him do a story about Ordinary World and being the perfect, what did he call the title of that? The perfect pop tune. And it's such a complex chord progression in that one. When I was learning that to be able to play it and record it, I was just beside myself with the interesting chords that Duran Duran chose to use when composing the music for that. And I sat down to learn it. I was like, wow. And I've studied a lot of jazz. I don't play it much, but definitely a complex chord progression from them. And it is a beautiful song. So now I'm at a point now where I've got a pretty good straight line to go at, so this makes this point a little bit easier. And the binding is kind of pulling away back here. And all this edge, this will all vanish when I hit it with some new lacquer and some lacquer thinner. It'll all melt together. So it should any of this work that I'm doing should pretty much vanish. And, yeah. Yeah, and I've tried that with this, but you got to keep in mind this stuff is about 2.8 millimeters thick, and it's very, very brittle. So I did try some heat last night. I worked late last night. Had some folks come in right at closing, so I kept the doors open and stayed with them and helped them discover some stuff.
Calling about a piece of repair.
Oh.
And I don't know. It was a stereo. I don't know.
Oh, okay. Line
1.
Line 1.
Might be this.
Hi, this is Marshall. Hi. I'm doing great. That's the one with the record player and the 8-track tape. Okay. Yep. We did our best to get into that, and forgive me for not calling. We've been shorthanded, and I should have called you sooner. I could have called you a day or so ago. Okay. To try and get into that record player, the way that thing was constructed, because I really wanted to get in there and make that drop arm work on that player, but in order to get into it, the way that it's mounted in that stereo, the access to it, I felt like I would end up doing more damage than good, meaning it would be some cosmetic damage. They put the record player in there and glued a piece of press board over it to keep it in place when they manufactured the thing. So you can imagine what I was up against at that point. So we did test that record player, and the record player works fine. I just don't have a way to access the guts of it to get at that drop arm. And so the record player works. It plays through the amplifier, and it seemed like the important part of the whole thing was that it's your daughter, am I correct, that wanted Granddad's record player working? Oh. Okay. It works, but she'll have to basically put the record on and push it down over the stem, drop the needle on there, and we were able to get a new stylus on that thing, and it works perfectly. It's just the mechanical parts of it. I can't get into that thing without possibly destroying it, and I absolutely just will not let that happen. I can't. So unfortunately, it's just the way they manufacture the thing. So at this point, it is ready to go home. You'll look at it, and nothing's changed aside from we put a new stylus on there, and she can use it as he did, and it'll work just fine. It sounds great. Yeah. We ran some old. Yeah, we plugged it in, and it powered right up. So I didn't have any issues with that. So I can't tell you why you might have experienced that. But also there are buttons on the controls of the amplifier, like had you hit the tape monitor button or something like that, you may not have gotten any sound out of it. And that's just stuff that you... Okay. That's exactly why you weren't hearing sound out of it. But the speakers in it, the original speakers and the cabinet and everything look great, and they work great. And so the thing sounds like it did brand new. And the other thing that you wouldn't have got sound out of it because the stylus was completely busted off of that thing. Couldn't tell you when that happened. The needle. Yeah, the needle was broken completely out of that thing. So, yeah. We did put an 8-track tape in. It didn't seem like the 8-track tape was something that you were super concerned about. Okay. Now, we did get a little bit of sound out of that 8-track player. We went in and cleaned the head on it, and at this point, again, I didn't spend a lot of time like trying to diagnose exactly what was wrong with that, simply because it seemed like your big concern was getting that record player working. So I kind of went with, you know, what we were told. And so, okay. So yeah, that thing is ready actually at this point if you want to come get it. Now, the question that I would have is, would you like me to put some time into trying to diagnose what's going on with that 8-track player? I can't promise anything on that. There could be components in there that are bad, or okay. Okay. I understand. That's all right. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Well, how long will you be in town right now? Are you here now? Oh, you're not. Okay. 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 I understand. Okay. Oh, that's cool. Okay. Sure. Okay. Try and get the. Okay. Okay. I'll do that. Okay. 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 We could remove it. I haven't looked into that mechanically very much. So when I go to work on that, I'll definitely take a look at that and see what now that's the thing about that record player. It would be great to be able to pull that thing out of there and just give it to her rather than having that big old cabinet. I don't know if that's part of the sentimental value of that to y'all. I would. Okay. 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 So that is part of. Sure. Well, let me look into that, and you know, if it becomes a big struggle, because the way that thing was built, it wasn't built to be serviced. I'm saying that in a general statement. None of that stuff is easy to get into on that device. So, um, the date code that I saw on one of the potentiometers tells me that it was built in 1968. 67 or 68. Does that sound about right to you? Maybe when he would have acquired that? Okay. Okay. That's sure. She wouldn't have a memory of that. Okay, I understand. Yep. Yeah, and the model number of that definitely was built in that time frame. So it um it's I don't know if it would be considered antique yet. I'd have to look at that up, the definition of what we consider antiques. It is definitely what I would call personally vintage gear. And I'm currently working on a vintage Gibson guitar right at the moment. So yeah, and it's from the same era. So yeah, it's definitely something that I think a lot of folks would love to have in their collection of equipment. I don't know if a lot of people would use it for listening daily, but it's certainly nothing wrong with doing that. So I think she'll be real happy with it. It sounds fantastic. It tracks really nicely. We did adjust the weighting on it as best we could. It doesn't have a lot of what do I want to say? More modern adjustability on that. But the needle stays down on the record. It plays the full record, and then stops. So you know, mechanically it's actually working pretty good, aside from, I believe the problem with it is that there's a switch that you throw that says reject on it, which ejects, basically pulls the needle up off the, that switch is broken. And you can spin it and it just, but to try and get in there, I gotta be honest, and I'm not afraid to say that I don't think it's worth it. Now, she lives in Portland, and now let me give you a name, or I could speak with her, whatever you like, but there is a business up there called Inner Sound. They might be a place that you could take this to. I've made it work, and it definitely works. But they might be a place that would know. Those guys have been working on vintage gear. That's what their business is. But they're located in Portland, which sounds like that's where this thing's going to end up. So that might be an option for her to take it in, or you know, however you'd like to do it. They would be, you know, I've had them do a lot of work. If I run into stuff that's beyond my means, or that has unobtainium parts, they're who I contact. They've been fantastic. So, in fact, I just had one of their pieces in here not too long ago that I was putting it back together for a young lady that had some work done. So, they're fantastic. Okay. Shh. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Sure. Yeah, it would. Sure, sure. This one would be more of a decoration, it sounds like, to decorate her home. I get you. Okay. Oh, okay. 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 Well, we've got it in a good spot right now, and I was able to clear out a lot of stuff. I had a lot of help over the weekend, and we got a lot of stuff out of here. It is perfectly fine if it needs to stay here for any amount of time at this point. Also, there's a chance that I may be headed to Portland late March. And if that's the case, I will call you and I will throw it in the back seat of my car if it'll fit in there, and I'll take it to Portland for you. Okay. Yeah, I'd like to make it easy on you all. I mean, welcome to the world of small business, you know. We aren't Walmart. Yeah. So let me. Okay. Okay. Wonderful. Okay. Okay. I'll. Yeah. Uh. Right. That's fine. Okay. Okay. 8-track tapes. Yeah, that's nothing sounds like them. That bleed from the other tracks. You can hear one song and then the other. Yeah. I'll do my best. I'll do my best. So let me get on it. Yeah, you bet. Okay. Yeah. No, it's fine where it is. We got a lot of stuff out of here, so it's actually sitting pretty right now. Yeah. Okay. All right. Yep. Yeah, don't hesitate to call us at any time. Okay, we're here. All right. All right. Thank you. All righty. Bye. Woohoo. All right. I love those phone calls. That's fun. All right, so here we go. Back to the old chipping away at the stone. Chip away. Get some some Aerosmith. So, all right. So let's get you down here where you can see what I'm up to. You're just looking at my ugly mug. Here we go. So we're still chipping away here. And I'm not 100% certain, but I think the Falcro is going to go live. So be sure to go over there and say hi from me today. He has taken on doing a bunch of guitar repair videos also. And he's learning, fixing his old Ibanez, it looks like at this point. So be sure to go over and give him a howdy. It's funny that I encouraged him to take on, after he came over and visited a couple times, to watch his growth as a guitar player and a YouTuber and all that stuff. It's really fun, and his channel is growing very quickly. Really, the guy is just he's such a good dude. Just chipping away at it. It's kind of like chipping away at concrete, like with a chipping hammer. Just slowly but surely. Don't go too deep. Don't go too steep. This is a process that I have never had to use on an acoustic guitar before. Chipping this. I have no idea what kind of glue they used on this, but it really seems to be, boy, it's definitely not hide glue because I can't smell it. If it was hide glue, I'd be smelling the dust from that. I don't know what they might have used on this. I don't think it's epoxy, but it does kind of have a personality like epoxy does. No. It doesn't seem like I've gotten any other recommendations on another process to use for doing this. Whew. So again, I'll go back over all of this, any of the remnants of binding and glue and such, that'll all be cleaned down to raw wood. So here is my other approach to doing this. Let's see. Yeah, I hear you. Mine is growing about the way it always has, and I don't care about that. It's just fun to be able to be social with people. I'm not trying to make a living or generate much income. I gave it a shot, but I realized I'm not the personality, nor do I have tits, so nobody will watch my show, right? You gotta have tits to have a popular YouTube channel. I just did say that, didn't I? Or you gotta be really, really good or famous already. Seems to help. I've been criticized for saying that, and I really don't care. It's the truth. All right. So, let's see. Trying to decide what the best plan of attack is for this one. I'm going to go ahead and start over here on this side. I've got to get a good grip with my leggies on this thing. And You got to have a good personality too. I've got a piece of a brace sticking out right here. I want to try and hit this with a razor blade. See if I can get this chunk to come off of here. There we go. Look at that. I got a great big old piece. Look at that. There is some chip out coming off of here. Some of the wood is getting stuck to the binding, and it's coming off with the binding, but that's all right. I have some oversized binding coming. We're gonna try and make the binding overall about a 1/2 millimeter bigger than it needs to be in both all directions, so that I end up, come on, there we go. Ooh, got a little deep right there. That's what she said. All right, so gotten all that off of there. I'll flip this bad boy around. Bad girl, whatever. We'll see what we can do. Go in this direction. I almost kind of wish I had a shorter chisel for doing this. Now, I hope my camera guy's got the camera pointed in the right direction here. There it goes. And you might notice that I have strings on this guitar still. And the reason I'm doing that is because if I did pull the strings off of this, the shape of the guitar would change ever so slightly. And I just want to keep the tension on the neck while I'm doing this. Why not? So this part should, ooh, and I can see right here that a piece of this back edge is coming off of here. I want to slice that. There we go. Now it's loose. I can probably see a lot of stuff that y'all can't see, and I've got a chunk coming off right here. These back long straight grain parts is where we end up with a lot of chip out with respect to the wood, so I want to be real careful about having too much come off. There we go. And I always say if I had to do it over again, I would have been a school teacher. I would have been an awesome school teacher. I really feel that. There we go. We'll be quieter.
That's so great. Tell her congratulations.
That might have been where they joined two pieces of binding together that broke off so clean. Very gentle. And we have another piece of chip out here. I'm going to save that piece, and I'm going to do my best to cut this. Yeah, I can't tell. There we go. Let me see. Okay, so I'm going to glue this back into place right now because I don't want to lose this. And these back edges, this is where we end up with a lot of the little chips and things like that that happen because of the grain of the wood. This is solid mahogany, I believe. So we're gonna, yeah. And I'm just gonna use a little bit of CA glue. I'm using the real runny stuff. Let me get my pliers here. And
Usually alcohol, like higher content isopropyl or the other one, we'll get that.
And there we go. So that won't come out of there again. So I've saved that piece from disappearing into infinity. And then I have this other little chunk here that came out. Where did you come out of there? This is going to be a fun one to get in there. Let me wipe off the excess. You know, and you probably realize why guys, when they do these repair videos, they only do them in shooting video. Hello. There we go. I'm going to hold off on doing that one. All right. Put this back here where, there you are. I'm rescuing that little chunk of wood that came out. I'll try and replace that. It's so small it probably won't even matter, but again, this guitar is so beat up, but this little chunk missing right here, I'd like to get that back where it came from. Just chipping away at it. Isn't this fun? And I've got another chip out starting here. So we'll get this, you can see that that's a nice chunk coming out of there. That was not what I expected to happen, but I was able to save that piece of wood. So
They don't teach you that way, do they? No, we turned down the alley until we missed the sign, so we came back around the block and that's all we did. Good. Look at you. Oh, this
go. Oh.
Well, how you doing?
Hi.
You like that one right there? You have to have a big one though.
That's all right, we'll use what we got.
Yeah. I'll get you one day. But they have to be those big giant ones that fit in that big ass hole.
That's what we got.
Some of these pieces of binding are really stuck on here good. And what I'm finding is that I feel like having it here, I've got pretty good control of my chisel and able to make sure that I'm not blowing this thing up with my visual guides and what I can see. Oh, this might be the, oh no, it just crumbles. And there's a piece that I've got to put back. I did not expect that, doggone it. Okay, that's a bottom piece, so. Boy, just had a nice big old chunk come out of here, which happened on the top of the instrument also. We'll glue that back in here in a moment. Okay, so you can see what just happened with this piece. So I've got a good solid edge down here, so I'm going to try and not cut my finger, of course. There we go. Looks like I got it to come loose. Yeah, look at that. Saved it. Saved it. All right, so let's glue this back in. And then we'll get working on a mandolin. What do you think? Let me get you over here where you can see what I'm up to. Yeah, that's going to go right back in. Test fit it. We're just going to use some CA glue on this one. I'm going to grab me a tip. Not that one. Another little device you should have if you're doing a whole lot of work with CA glue is some of these little extension tips. They shrink down the size of the tip of that thing, and Yeah, Clayton, welcome, brother. I didn't see you here. Thanks for stopping in. Yeah, I'm going to be starting work on a mandolin today. Probably do the whole thing. It's in for a string change, and it said there's some fret buzz going on. So I don't know. I haven't even looked at the instrument yet, but it's got some buzz. So it might need a new bridge. I don't know. So I'm just trying to decide what the best. Yeah, that's the best. Once I get that CA glue in there. Okay. 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 Hopefully y'all can see. What's my shot looking like? I'll get you a little bit closer here. I am not worried about the excess glue or any drips that might happen with this, because I'm going to end up, I just dropped that piece of wood. I lightened my grip on this little pair of tweezers, and that piece of wood, found it. You see the okay. CA glue is a contact cement, so once those pieces touch together, it pretty much hardens. I got it perfect right there. I'll see if I can glue my fingers. And CA glue sticks to fingers and itself better than anything else. Again, this will get hit with some lacquer, so I'm not terribly concerned about having any drip or anything like that, or this crack actually showing, due to the fact that I will be able to fill that with lacquer. Got one little tip of this thing that's sticking out. If you've worked with CA glue before, you know what I mean. This stuff does not stick to anything but skin and itself. Normally, you know, if you're gluing up CA glue and you want it to dry clear so that you can't see it, you want to let it sit for about 30 to 40 seconds before you hit it with the accelerator. I say that in a lot of videos. So, we've gotten all the binding off this thing, and now I am left with cleaning up all of the remnants of binding and getting it cleaned down to being just bare wood, and then reinstalling the what are we using, bird's eye maple binding on this guitar. And the binding is being custom built for me in Portland, Oregon. I can put you in touch with this gentleman and we'll see how this works out. This is the first time we've we've gone this route, and he's very excited. I did get video and pictures of the binding that he got started on last night. I literally called him yesterday afternoon, about 4 p.m. No, it was 5 p.m. my time. It's same as Portland, and I got a video message from him at about 7 o'clock, and he had already cut 4 pieces of it. So, yeah. Super glue, CA glue. They call it CA glue because it's cyanoacrylate. Cyanoacrylate. It's like ABS glue is acrylonitrile butadiene styrene. I know that because I'm a plumber, and I had to know that to get my journeyman's card. Yeah, CA glue. Okay, so we're gonna set this this old bugger aside. Look at that. Doesn't that look terrible? There's no binding. All the binding's gone. Well, most of it. Wow. And I do have a repair here to do that I'm going to do at a different time. And here's a little trick of the trade. When you lose a chunk of wood like that, right? You lose a chunk of wood like that, put it in a safe place. Right? Put it in a safe place. That can't get chipped, it can't get knocked off the guitar, it can't get broken worse than it already is, and the machine heads are protecting it, and it'll be there when I go to fix it. That is a very, very important part of fixing guitars, is not losing any parts. Good grief. Alright, so let's clean up my bench and we'll get this mandolin going. Hope everybody's having a really great Tuesday. Yeah. The guy that owns this shop does have a pretty decent bank account. We make him a lot of money, and we're very proud to do it. And he takes very good care of us. This is actually his guitar, by the way. He purchased it, I believe, bought this guitar brand new back in the day. So his and I kind of told this story already, but I'll repeat it. The owner's son, and he's just a wonderful guy. He's great to work with. He is one of the best car audio and lead vocalists you could ever hope to meet. He installs car audio and does all that sort of stuff. That's his part of our business here. He does home audio stuff too, but he owns the guitar now. I will say he owns it, and he uses it for his home songwriting guitar, that old Gibson J-40. So, Rody, hello, man. I didn't see you here. I've been so busy working, I haven't been paying attention to who's popping in. I do appreciate everybody showing up, and the interaction in the chat has been really super cool. And I'm getting a lot of ideas. Justin offered up the idea of heating up that binding, and I beat him to the punch. With regard to that suggestion, because oh, that's what's going on with this. Sorry about that. No, and then we'll get back to the show. So I don't know what brand of mandolin, but Justin's recommended heating up that binding, and that is really a good idea. If you're gonna have to remove binding, you can heat it up, and it'll stretch. Or if you got a piece of binding that's pulled away from a guitar, you can heat it up, usually put some glue behind it and get it to push back in there. It's not a 100% fix, but it is definitely a good idea. This one, the binding is so brittle that it just broke. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I work on all his guitars. He's got some really nice. He doesn't own very many guitars. let's see, he's got a Martin acoustic. They got a Gibson Hummingbird that I've worked on several times. Been on my show a few times. This Gibson. Chris also owns a Taylor, what is it, a 514 E. It's a grand auditorium with no cutaway, and I've worked on all those guitars. Or just done string changes. We did some refret work on the Taylor. And then there's the old 52 Telly that I get to work on once in a while. So that one I'm pretty proud of. And you know, it's funny that the guy still takes that thing out and gigs with it. It's a 1952 Fender Telecaster. He still goes out and gigs with it. It's awesome. Awesome guitar. Let's see. 3K. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Leah Emerson.
Yeah.
541-704-8903.
Yeah, and you know, Clayton, that's cool. You know, if you know how to do a little bit and you own a few guitars, it's like what Richard, the Falconer, is doing. He's just learning to play. He's a very new guitar player, but he's working on fixing his own guitars, and it's funny for me to see him doing what he's doing, because although I didn't get to share it on YouTube, he's doing exactly what I was doing when I was 12 years old, and that's no joke. Not a joke at all. I broke a guitar and I had to fix it, and here I am later on, because I realized you could fix something like that, and holy smokes. Then I also had some very good guidance from guitar shops that I was familiar with and went to all the time. You know, I was hook, line, and dollar guitars. So it's a fun skill to learn, and as you can see, you know, every one of them you learn either a new technique, or you have to invent a new technique, or do something that you don't really want to do to get a guitar fixed. You gotta keep thinking outside the box in many cases. So here comes the old Mando. We're gonna get started on this. This is a pretty typical day for me. What time is it? It's almost 1:30. Okay, I'm gonna go until about 2 o'clock Pacific Daylight Time. Yeah. Yeah. Welcome, Preston, man. I didn't see you there. Let's take a look at this mandolin and see what's going on with this. I like the case. This is a pretty cool case. Guitar Works since 1978. Okay. Ooh, it's a Kentucky. Oh man, how cool. How cool is that? And it has a truss rod. Oh, okay. Oh, my day just got better. All right. So this thing's going to get a new set of strings for sure today. And I just so you know, I just did clean off my my bench. Got all the chips from the guitar off of here, so I don't scratch up this beautiful mandolin. Take a look at that. It's an A-style mandolin. Definitely not one of the more popular ones, but definitely nice. And it's a Kentucky mandolin. Let's see. I can't tell. It's got handwritten HM model style HM505. It's got a crack here in the top that I'm going to repair for her. This will let's get you down in here in the action. We'll give this thing a good look over. You can see the crack here, and it's moving, and that's only a matter of time before that whole thing gets knocked off of there. So I'm gonna glue that up for her. Everybody say hi to Carla. She's a a musical fixture in our community and really a cool lady. She owns this mandolin. I'm not going to give you her last name just for her own. And we can see that there's a screw coming out of this machine head right here. So we need to get that tightened up. I'm going to give the thing a good look over. String action looks really super low, which is great. It looks good, but she said there was some fret buzz or some buzz going on in it. It's got a plenty of room in the saddle to lower that, so we may want to raise the action on this one a little bit, but we want to keep it down at the 1.2 millimeter-ish range. Machine head's looking pretty good shape. They're nice and gold. Okay. This lady plays music all over the place. Plays a lot of different instruments too, I believe. I've worked on some, let's see, some mountain dulcimers for her. So she's definitely into like mountain music. Play me some mountain music. So, I want to take a look here at the neck relief, and on these we only want a very small amount of neck relief. I'm going to look down the neck also. It is a level fingerboard, which is great. I don't like radiused fingerboards, and this thing does have I'm kind of giving you a look down the fingerboard. There's a little wow in it right here, which is fine. I usually pull the last couple of frets and router that off so that it doesn't get in the way of your pick, but it doesn't have the long, it doesn't stick way out into here. Wow, and the neck's not real straight either. The neck's kind of doing this between the body and the headstock. It's going left to right, and it's got a little bit of a, what I call a ski slope. But the fingerboard looks very, or the neck looks very straight. Like virtually no relief in it, and we want to have a little bit of relief. So let's start by a little chip of paint missing out of this. I'm going to go ahead and start here with getting this glued back up, and we'll try and make the line vanish. Okay. I don't want to break this while I'm working on it, so I'm going to glue it back together again. And we'll probably put a gusset inside here. Now, I've got to think of how I can clamp this. The clamps that I have are pretty darn big, and there's a chip of paint missing right here, so we'll color that in and make that kind of go away so you don't see it. I don't like this sort of stuff in dark finishes. If you just even make it black, it'll make it, you all know that, but yeah, so let's how do I want to tackle this? Thinking of order of operations, you know, I'm just going to be careful and not break this part of the mandolin any worse than it is. I'll do that later. And I need to decide on how to clamp this. Let me check the... Doesn't have a sound post in it. That's probably a good thing. It looks like it's a carved top. This could be a fairly valuable instrument. I don't know. You can look up an HM505 by Kentucky and see what these sell for. HAB0501. HM505. So foot's sitting on there pretty nicely. Let's go ahead and turn the truss rod and see if that works. I'm just going to be real careful not to break this while I'm working on it. And we'll tighten up this screw. Tightening all of them up just to make sure they don't fall out of there. And not having, it's missing a string obviously, so the full string tension isn't on the neck right now, so setting the neck relief would be actually almost a pointless activity at this point because you don't have full string tension on it. It does have a piece of felt down here, but this string is getting missed. Let's see if we can get that over where it needs to be. It's a piece of leather. That's nice. When I put the new strings on here, I'm going to shift that piece of leather over so that they are making contact with that. Otherwise, you get some rattle in these things. Let me see if I've got my proper pick here. And I don't. I'll be right back. I got to go grab a guitar pick. I'll be right back. Well, Mike, I got all the binding off of that.
Did ya?
I got it. That's the stuff.
I'm gonna run this over to my house real fast. I'll be right back. It's just something jelly or I don't know. Like a real loose bean.
Oh,
You know.
it's got style.
I'll be right back, Marshall. That's 6:45.
Okay, I'll see you at 9.
Surly.
Okay, don't drink too much. All right, so that's doing a good job. Actually, the string actions, that first fret action to me is a bit low, but we'll let that slide for now. And I'm using a 0.5 millimeter pick, and that should be held in place, and it's not. And so we want to go to a 0.6 millimeter here at the 12th fret, which is what I like. And it's the string action on this thing is set up really nicely. And if, boy, I got to tell you, if my memory serves correct, I did set this thing up last time. So I think what my my process of attack on this is going to be is to put a new set of strings on it and then adjust things, because right now I don't have full tension on it. I'm missing a string here, and I don't have individual mandolin strings that I'm aware of. Okay, just see what they did there. Yeah. Let's pull that string. I'm just looking down here at the saddles. Oh, where am I? Where am I? There they are. Let's there we go. We got that one out of there. So I'm gonna play this a little bit. Not really play it. I can't play a mandolin to save my life, but let's just see if there is some frets that are not working. Let me tune this. I can't stand that. I moved the machine heads while I was this tuner is not liking this. There are definitely some dead notes in this. We might have a tall fret. I don't know. We'll find out. We will find out. Bummer. Yeah, the first fret action is actually too low on this one. For me to say that's kind of a risky statement, because what I don't know is if I put that extra string on here, if it'll pull that neck up far enough that that fret, that note will actually sound. So before I do anything else, I'm just going to check. I'm going to check the second fret for being too high. Let me get my string winder out here. We'll see. We will see. My favorite thing to do. Yeah, I can see that that fret's been getting worn a little bit extra. Favorite thing to do. And I can tell that that fret went down because some debris gushed out the back side of it. And with these instruments, you're talking about 1/1000th of an inch could be the difference between having, well, 1/1000th, 5/1000th of an inch could be the difference between a string ringing and not. So I just smack that fret with a hammer. My favorite thing to do. And still. Wow. So, gotta really push that thing down. Here's, let me see. I'm gonna have to decide what the best fix for this one's gonna be. While I'm doing that, I'm gonna step away from the live stream, and I want to say thanks to everybody for joining me today. And hopefully you learned something. If you didn't, or you learned how to not do something, if you disagree with something I did, that's always fine. I appreciate you all being here. I'm gonna put some thought into this. This one's got an issue that I need to think about a little bit. There's a possibility of maybe replacing a couple frets on this one. I do have some fret wire for mandolins. Thing does have really, really tall frets, so could be an interesting thing. Or doing a fret level might be the appropriate thing. So I'm going to step away. I want you all to have a wonderful day. If you have any ideas, feel free to leave them in the comments. I look forward to hearing from y'all, and I do take your advice on many, many occasions, and I've tried some of your ideas, and they have helped me solve a problem that I didn't think of ways to do it. So thanks y'all for being here. Clayton, I appreciate all of your input in the chat. Hugh, Rhodey, Justin, Jade, Leela, everybody. Boy, if I left you out, man, forgive me. Tremor, yeah, Tremor, I forgot about you, brother. Tremor, have a great day. You all have a really wonderful day. I'll be live tomorrow night at about 5 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, doing just a little bit of guitar playing and noodling around. And I'm looking forward. I got one other thing. It's kind of cool. I have a new guitar student coming today, so there's a new guitar player entering our world. Never played a chord on a guitar in his life, so today will be the first time, and I do hope to capture that on video. All right, you guys. Yeah. All right, you guys. Peace.